Welcome to video number 2 for chapter 2 section 1. In this video we're looking at examples you're going to see on your homework when you get to those homework questions. There are going to be 18 homework questions. I'm going to do about almost all of them for your examples for the video. So let's get started. First of all, make sure that you show your work on all your homework, and I'm about to show you how I want you to show your work. So you need to write the equation. And I want you to show what you're doing to both sides. So go to the x side and notice we see positive 10. So what I put in blue is what I want you to show on your homework. So we're going to subtract 10 from both sides. Not just one side, but both sides. So over here, that's 0. And you don't have to circle the 0. I shouldn't have done that in blue. Let's circle it in red. Okay, so 2 minus 10 is negative 8. So in the blank, we would type negative 8. Okay, I know these are easy, and that's why I'm not allowing you to use the calculator, but you still have to show your work. Okay, on number 2, write the equation. And this is multiplication. 6 is being multiplied by x. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. Now, before you get carried away with making that into a decimal, read the directions. Type an integer or simplified fraction. That is not going to be a decimal. So we're just going to write it as 23 over 6. You only type a mixed number if they tell you to type a mixed number. You only type a decimal if they tell you to type a decimal. Okay? All right, our first word problem. Number 3. Toucans and blue and yellow macaws are both tropical birds. The length of the toucan in the picture to the right is about 2/3 of the length of the blue and yellow macaw. So that what this sentence is saying is that the toucan, I'm just going to write a T for toucan, is 2/3 times, because of means times, the macaw. Okay? The toucan is about 20 inches long, so we're going to put 20 in for toucan. What is the length of the blue and yellow macaw? So let's let x be the length of the macaw. So that would be 2/3 times x. Now, you don't have to type or write this part. I'm just showing you something, okay? But you do have to write the equation correctly and then show both what you're doing to both sides. Okay, so you have to do this part, the equation. All right, so what we're going to do is multiply. We're going to go to the variable side. Okay, the variable sides are on the right side this time. And notice there's a fraction being multiplied by that variable. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So over here on the left side, I put that 20 over 1, cross reduce. 3 times 10 is 30 over 1, which is 30. Over here, cross reduce, and we get x. So x equals 30. And so that will go right here. All right. One word problem down. Number 5 is negative 5 plus x equals 7. So write the problem. Go to the variable side and look at the number that's being added to x. It is actually a negative 5. So I'm going to do the inverse of negative 5. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So that's 0. So x equals 12. All right, we do have some problems that have decimals, so let's write the problem. 4.9 equals negative 3 plus x. Go to the variable side. Look at what's being done to that variable. We do have adding, but we're adding what? We're adding a negative 3. So that means we're going to add 3 to both sides. Do the opposite. Notice where that 3 is going to line up. It's lining up underneath the 4 because that 3 is in the ones place. There's a 0 in the tens place for that 3. So add, so that's 7.9 equals x. And notice this time it says type an integer or a decimal. So I am going to type a decimal. Number 7, oops, negative 13 equals z minus 7. I always put a line through my z's, keep them looking like 2's. All right, so go to the variable side. Okay, it's on the right. And notice that we have subtracting 7, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So make sure you're showing what you're doing on both sides of these equations when you show your work. All right, number 7. Number 9. So write the problem and show what we're going to do to both sides. So go to the variable side. This is -7 times x. It means we're going to divide by -7. So x equals -5. Solve the problem using multiplication or division. Check your answer. Now, if it says check your answer, which I think a lot of these have, I'm not going to require that you show that you check your answer. I'm just going to suggest it. Okay? So in order to check, we take what we get for x and we plug it back in for x to see if we get a balanced equation. Okay? But again, you do not have to show this. You can do it mentally, but you don't have to show it. All right, so we have 2a, so that's 2 times a. It means we're going to divide both sides by 2. So let's talk about how to simplify this, because it says 0.3 over 2. It says type an integer or a decimal. So 0.32 goes inside, 2 goes on the outside, 2 goes into 0, 0 times, 2 goes into 3, 1 time, so 2 times 1 is 2. 2 goes into 12, 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. So this will be 0.16. All right, on number 11, we have 76 equals 1.9x. This is multiplication again, so I'm going to divide both sides by 1.9. Notice again it says to type a decimal. So we're going to put the number on top inside, the number on bottom outside. We need to here now move our decimal so we have a whole number on the outside. So this is 19 being divided into 760. So let's estimate. Let's see what 19 times 4 is. And I do get 76. Now don't forget though, once we subtract, we still have a number left to bring down. So this will be 40. So that is an integer. All right, number 13. This one's a little different. X over 5 equals -6. Now this is the one I showed you at the beginning on video number 1. We have x on the left and it's being divided by 5. So we're going to multiply by 5. Now remember that those 5's cancel out. And so I have x equals -30. On number 14. Okay, here I'm going to multiply both sides by 3/5. Multiply by the reciprocal. 5's and 3's cancel out on the left side. Reduce the 5 and the 15 by 5. And on top, I'm multiplying 3 times 3. So R equals 9. Okay, number 16. A helicopter descends 160 meters to be 497 meters above the ground, as illustrated in the diagram to the right. Write an equation to describe the situation. And it says using h as the original height of the helicopter. So it starts off at h. It descends. So it means we're going down. So that's subtracting 160. And now it equals 497. So that's our equation. Add 160 to both sides. And we get h equals 657. So you have two things you have to put in here. First, you have to put the equation. And then you have to type in the answer. Okay. All right, a few more. Number 17, dealing with fractions. But this time, whoops, I wrote it wrong. But this time we're not multiplying because this is 3/5 plus y. So I got to subtract 3/5 from both sides. So I need to get common denominators, which will be 15. I didn't write that very well. So this one's going to be 15, and this one's going to be 15. So 3 times 5 is 15, so 1 times 5 is 5. Here, 5 times 3 is 15, so, oops, negative 3 times 3 will be negative 9. So 5 minus 9 will be negative 4 over 15. So that's what we'll type in the blank, because notice it says a simplified fraction. All right, one more where we're multiplying by a fraction. Multiply by the reciprocal. And 5 goes into 5, 3 goes into 3. So m equals, over here, 3 goes into 3. So 1 times 1 on top and 1 times 5 on bottom. So notice this one also said a simplified fraction. All right, so that's the end of video number 2 for chapter 2, section 1. Now you can start your homework problems.